Hello, teens! I'm Alex, your librarian from Heroes Regional Park Library, and you're welcome to Teen Horror Storytime. I want to take you today to horrific world of Five Nights at Freddy's. This game was invented by Scott Cotton, and we have series, Fazbear Frights, and we have novels, and we have graphic novels. Let's start to read the story that I want to read a little piece out of it, titled The Breaking Wheel. Imagine yourself being in a robotic class and you have assignments to create exotic skeleton. You have really nice ideas to help humanity with that, but it happens that you stay lonely in the classroom with the class bully. His name is Julius, and your name is Reed. Let's see what happened next. Julius lifted his exoskeleton. See this here? I was going to use it to be stronger and faster, but I don't need to be stronger and faster. I'm already strong and fast. I figure out a better use. I'm going to get this thing working perfectly, and I'm going to hold you down and put you into it. Then I will control the exoskeleton and it will make you do whatever I command it to do. You will have to be my servant. I'm going to make you wait on me all day long. You will carry my books, tie my shoes, get me food, clean up after me. I even going to make you dance for me. What do you think about that, loser? Would you like to dance like a monkey for me? Reed still didn't speak. It was like he'd been turned to stone. All he could do was stand there and watch Julius lean over and tinker with his exoskeleton. Julius looked up and laughed at Reed. Ha ha ha! Can't get your tongue? Julius lifted up his exoskeleton suit. Wanna see it in action? It's pretty amazing, if I do say so myself. Julius began fitting the suit to his long limbs and V-shaped torso. The metal shell lay over Julius' limbs. A shoulder strap, chest strap, and hip strap, along with clamps at the wrists and ankles, kept everything in place. Reed, biting the inside of his cheek hard enough to draw blood, remained rooted to the spot, watching. Outside the classroom, students laughed and called to each other as they headed to the buses lined up outside the school. Inside the classroom, it was nearly silent, except for the clicks and snaps of Julius feeding himself into his robotic skeleton. See here? Julius held up his arms. He indicated his wrists, then pointed to his ankles. I've equipped the exoskeleton with locking mechanism, so once I get you in it, I can keep you in it. Reed watched Julius struggle with some of the joints of his exoskeleton. Julius shifted the framework on his body, then adjusted the suit pieces and cylinders. Outside, a couple of buses started their engines, and the baritone rambling vibrated the walls of the school. If Reed didn't leave the room, he would have to walk to the Gerard's house. This is a house of his friends, where he wanted to go to continue to work on his school surplus assignments and his project. He'd have to walk over 7 miles, all because he stood here like a paralyzed mute for the last several minutes. He shook his head to try and get his brain rebooted. Brain rebooted? Isn't he unhuman too? Let's continue to read. Julius, heavy with his exoskeleton riding his body, leaned down and fiddled with the wires leading to the skeleton circuits. Reed wished he had the guts to reach out and shove Julius across the room, him and his stupid exoskeleton. But it was a good thing he didn't. A second later, Reed was glad he wasn't touching Julius. A radiant flash burst up like fireworks as a power surge sparked in the exoskeleton. Julius' body twitched, his eyes widened, and he went rigid for several seconds. In those seconds, Reed's mind bizarrely thought of the previous day's word of the day. Shelley shared every one of them with him. Shelley is his friend. He forgot most of them, but he remembered fulgurant, which means flashing like lightning. The power surge was fulgurant, he thought. With curiosity for what was going to happen next, Reed watched the stiffness leave Julie's body. Julie swavered to his feet, lost his balance, and fell back on his desk. Shaking his head, he groped for his chair and slid into it. He put his head down, and for what felt like a long 20 seconds, Julius was perfectly still. Was he alive? Reed blinked and studied Julius' inert form. Then Reed's gaze landed on the wrist and ankle joints of the suit. Finally, Reed moved, stepping over to Julius. Reed quickly locked the wrist and ankle joints. They fitted together with a satisfying snap. As soon as they did, Reed stepped back and grinned. That would teach the ignominious artist reprobate. Reed picked up his backpack and slung it over his shoulder. He watched as Julius opened his eyes. It took a second of him to get oriented, then when he did, he attempted to grip off the exoskeleton. "Oops," Reed said. He backed toward the classroom door. He finally found his voice. "I must have locked you in. My bad." Julius jerked his arms, yanking to freedom from the restraints of his skeletal suit. He kicked his legs. With his right hand, he grabbed at the exoskeleton, hugging his left hand. He grunted and strained. The skeleton wouldn't budge. "What the hell did you do, punk?" Julius yelled. "Unlock me!" "I didn't think so," Reed said. "Do what I tell you! Unlock me!" Julius' face was molted, mix of red and purple. His eyes looked like they were bulging out of his head. Spittle clung off the corners of his mouth. Reed shrugged and grinned. He couldn't remember the last time he was displeased with himself. Not that he thought through what he was doing. Reed shrugged and grinned. He couldn't remember last time he was displeased with himself. What was the point of what he'd just done? Was he just messing with Julius, or was he going to leave Julius in suit overnight? Could he do that? So, you will continue the story on your own if you would like to know what happened next. And it's really scary. Fazbear Frights, Scott Cawthon. Have a wonderful Spooktober. Bye-bye.